Before we start this week's show properly, just a few bits of housekeeping. Firstly, yes, I am being as quiet as possible, and the reason for that is there is a sleeping baby literally on the other side of that wall behind me. Okay, so I'm going to try and be as quiet as possible without sounding like I'm whispering. I may occasionally raise my voice if something seems particularly exciting. It might do, we'll see. Secondly, it's been 2 weeks since you last saw me, and the reason for that is that it's been school holidays here in England, and, well, it's not really a holiday for us, is it? For the parents. We generally spend our time cooking, cleaning up after the little ones, and basically acting like a WWE referee most of the time, it seems. Your mileage may vary. Your kids may not argue as much as mine, but mine argue a hell of a lot. Thirdly, you notice I'm wearing these glasses. I wear glasses about 70% of the time. I thought to myself, do you want to wear these glasses when you're doing YouTube videos? No, of course you don't. You want to look like one of those cool YouTubers that you see all the time and get yourself some sunglasses. And that's exactly what I did. I ordered some prescription sunglasses off the internet. It took a hell of a long time to arrive, but this is how they look on me. This is probably going to be the first and last time you see me wearing these glasses because they give me headaches. So I'm sending them back. And the reason for that is that I normally order my prescription sunglasses and glasses from a company called Specs for Less. They haven't sponsored me in any way. They're not paying me to say this. They don't even know I'm saying this. But I've always used them because their service has always been exceptionally good, quick, and the quality is exactly what you want. But this time around, I thought, hey, why not save yourself money? And indeed I did. I saved myself a whole of £5. And what that meant was that I had to wait 3 times as long to receive them, and the ones that I've got are basically defective. So I'm going to send them back. So, yeah, the lesson here, kids, is stick to the companies that you know and trust to do a good job for you. Be loyal to them, because good service, good quality deserves loyalty. Okay. The other thing I want to mention is how does this look? Does this look different? Have you noticed a difference? Okay. You should have. Firstly, this is much wider image than you're normally used to seeing. Secondly, the colours should be a little bit different to what you're used to seeing in my videos as well. You'll notice that there are a couple of big boxes in the corner, and in those big boxes are a fancy new camera and a fancy new lens, because what's happened is I've sold one of my cameras on eBay, got a fantastic price for it, and this has just arrived. But if I wanted to get this episode out, I had to use an action camera. And why not? Because there are so many channels that do use action cameras to make YouTube videos. So I thought, why not give it a go? Let's see how it looks. The problem with action cameras is they use these strange wide-angle lenses that make things look funny in the corners. And it's like, look, my hands don't look like this in reality. Yeah, you see what I mean? It's weird, right? Is it weird? Do you prefer this? Do you prefer this wide-angle look with the bright, saturated colours? Do you? Maybe you do. Maybe this is better. Maybe this is what I should be doing from now on. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Do you prefer this? Actually, just for comparison, let's have a quick look at what it was like in the previous episode. So this is what it looks like in the previous episode. And back to this episode. Which do you prefer? Let me know. Comments down below. I hate doing this because my hands look so damned weird with the action camera. Anyway, on with the show. What up, nerds? I'm Jay Sharif, and welcome to another episode of Tech Tuesdays. Every Tuesday I make a video about whatever tech or gadgets I've bought in the last week, and I've had quite a few packages arrive in the mailbox recently. Today I'm going to talk about USB charging cables. Please don't switch off. Please don't switch off. This will be a really, really short video, and I do think you're going to like it, okay? So, let's talk about charging cables, which can be a lot more interesting than you might realise. Recently, I've been particularly intrigued by 3 different types of USB charging cable I've seen on Amazon. Now, we all know what USB cables look like. On one end, they have the standard USB connector. This is officially known as a USB-A connector. And then on the other end, you have various different kinds of connectors. Popular versions include mini USB, micro USB, USB-C, and of course the Lightning connector for Apple devices. Now, the first USB cable I've bought this week has been designed to deal with this multi-connector problem because it's a cable that can connect to several devices at once. And here it is. This particular version is by a company called Baseus, or maybe it's supposed to be Baseus. So here's how it works. You plug one end into a charger or computer as usual. However, the cable then splits into multiple outputs. So this version has 4 outputs: a Lightning connector, a micro USB, and 2 USB-C connectors. Now, eventually all devices will use USB-C as standard, even Apple devices, which is great. Until that happens though, this multi-output USB cable is incredibly useful, because if, like me, you have multiple devices, then being able to charge them all simultaneously is fantastic. Right, let's do this. So, I've got an iPad here. Yes, it is in a rugged, waterproof military case, because obviously it is. I've got children. I'm going to put all my precious and expensive devices in as rugged a case as I can. So that plugs in nice and snugly. That's my iPad there. An Android tablet, again in a rugged case, so the brats can't break... Sorry, the children can't break it. Micro USB is there. That's plugged in there. I've got my phone here, and I can use a USB-C cable to plug that in. And finally, I've got my action camera, which I can also plug the second USB-C cable into. So, 4 devices. Will this work? Hopefully. Oh, that doesn't look good. It's a bit dusty. Let's see what happens when I plug this in. Multiple devices charging at once. There we go. That's charging. That's charging. This is also charging. And my Apple device, the iPad, is also charging, which is fantastic. So what we have here is 1 charger, 4 devices. How efficient is that? Obviously, this is a brilliant innovation, but you do need to keep in mind that this USB cable is for charging only. You can't use it as a data cable to connect your computer to your devices. So, it will never replace dedicated single device cables. If you want to transfer pictures from your action camera to your laptop, then you still need to use a standalone USB-A to USB-C cable. Speaking of which, here's a quirky set of cables that will do exactly that. At first glance, these nylon braided cables look pretty normal. Obviously, the nylon braiding on the outside helps them last much longer than ordinary plastic cables, and that's one of the reasons I bought these. However, they do have a party piece, and it's hidden on the USB-A side, where it has a little LED panel. As soon as I plug it into a power supply, it starts telling me the amount of current and voltage going through this wire. Under normal circumstances, the voltage should always be showing at around about 5 volts. If it's showing anything else, then that suggests something is wrong. And when it's connected, the current should normally be showing somewhere between 1 amp and 3.5 amps. This is showing us less than half an amp, 0.4 amps. That's probably down to the phone that it's connected to, because how much comes out is also dependent on how much this device is asking for. So obviously this device is asking for a lot less current than 1 amp. But normally, somewhere between 1 amp and 3.5 amps is what you can expect. Now some of you might be asking, what are amps? Very quickly then, amp is short for amperes. The amp reading here tells you how much current is flowing. Basically, how quickly energy is being transferred. The bigger the number of amps, the more energy is going through this wire every second. So hopefully now you can broadly understand what this little LED is telling you. And this is a really neat little gimmick, but in all honesty, it's never once come in useful to me. It's an interesting curiosity, but most of you can easily live without this knowledge. So feel free to buy one of these because it's a quirky, nerdy thing to own, but don't expect that you'll actually get any useful information out of it I've never got any useful information out of it. And finally, I bought a couple of magnetic connector cables, and these ones might have a practical value beyond the nerdy delight that they provide. Each cable has the standard USB-A connector on one end. On the other end, however, it doesn't have a specific connector. Instead, you're supplied with these multiple interchangeable connectors, magnetic of course. So I've got one here that connects to my iPad, one that connects to my smartphone, and one that will connect to my Android tablet. There we go. All you have to do is literally just push them in to the end, like so. And then when I want to charge any of these devices, I just connect one end to the device, like so, magnetically. Works really well. And the other end into any charger, like so. So we've got this cable that lights up a lovely shade of blue, and I've got this moving effect here. Really brightens up your day, of course. But imagine one of these running in your bedroom throughout the night. Okay, let's turn off the lights so you can see what that would look like. Right, so I'm not sure how much of this you can see, but a couple of things. Firstly, this is very, very annoying, in the dark in particular. And secondly, blue light is proven to disrupt human sleep. They really didn't think this through, did they? Apart from this one annoying, very major design flaw, this cable does seem to work on almost any device. Let's turn the lights back on. Right, so obviously this is charging my smartphone just fine. I can remove this end of the cable, and now let's plug it into, magnetically, to my iPad. Yeah, there we go. Works just fine on the iPad as well. And finally, let's give this a go on the Android tablet. Oh, it actually worked. It didn't work when I was practicing earlier, but it seems to work just fine on the Android tablet as well. So, excellent. Charges multiple devices. No need to constantly plug it in either. It will magnetically attach itself to the device. The only problem is you've got to leave this bloody connector thing in your device constantly to take advantage of the convenience of this. So that's 3 different types of USB cable. What's my final verdict? Well, basically it's this. Do not buy any of the gadgets, cables I've discussed today, with one exception. The multi-device USB charging cable is a fantastic and useful product, especially if you need to pack light while you're travelling. Everything else I've talked about today just isn't worth the money. Simple as that. So, there you have it. As usual, valuable consumer advice from another episode of Tech Tuesdays. There are links in the description as usual if you do want to buy any of the products I've mentioned in the show. This has been another episode of Tech Tuesdays. I'll be back again next week with more. Later, nerds.